There are so many grinds in OSRS. Some of them are more important than others. It really depends where you are in your account and your progression. There's so many different categories of things that you need to do to enter the endgame, but then I would say there's more things that you need to do to enter the mid-game. Things that may take 1 or 2 or 5 to 10 hours, but they're very important and necessary. Some people, but not all, might find this not fun at all, but all of it is required. Starting off with a big one, the fire cape. The fire cape is your first introduction to feeling like you can actually PvM. And the fire cape is still the best melee cape in the game, outside of the infernal cape. And it's not gated by any stats, it's gated by the notorious Jad hands. Getting all the way to Jad and being nervous on the very last part where he might just mess up a prayer flick and die. A lot of the time he will one-shot you, so it's just one of those things. The recommended stats to do Jad is 70 ranged as a minimum, 43 prayer so you have protection prayers. A blowpipe if you have one is very useful, but a rune crossbow with diamond dragon bolts if you don't. The waves themselves really aren't hard for your average gamer. It's all a mental game. Jad is the real mental barrier. If you've died a few times during Jad, then just take a break and come back to it. You're gonna get it eventually, so don't worry. Fighter's Torso might be the most iconic. I hate this, but I have to do it. Fighter's Torso is from the Barbarian Assault minigame. It's pretty much got an equivalent strength bonus to the Bando's chestplate, something that costs over 20 million GP, and it's free once you've suffered 4 or 5 hours getting carried through the minigame. You're going to need to complete waves with each of the roles. You're going to need to do probably 30 plus runs with a good team, and you're definitely going to need a good team to potentially carry you if you're doing this early, because a bad team will just make it take forever. The Dragon Defender might be one of the most important sufferings you're going to have to go through. You're going to need a combination of 130 attack and strength levels. You feed the animator with rune armor, kill the animated warrior, then farm the cyclopses in the basement for the defender drops. It goes from bronze to iron, steel, black, myth, addy, rune, and then finally dragon. Each tier can take 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, it really does depend on your RNG. So if you don't get spooned, it could take 5 to 7 hours. The one thing that can get a bit annoying is the Warriors Guild tokens can run out. You lose 10 tokens per minute, and if you don't stockpile tokens before you start the defender grind, you'll suddenly have to leave and go get more tokens, which resets the mental clock. Maybe that's good or bad, it depends on how you play. I prefer to get enough tokens so I can just grind it out in one go, but you do you. Void and Elite Void. This is kind of a grind that a lot of people also don't really like. You're going to need the helm, top, bottom and gloves, as well as the melee and ranged counterparts. Then you upgrade it to Elite Void. You need an additional 200 points per piece to upgrade the top and bottom. Pest control is a lot faster on the veteran bow, but this requires a level of 100 combat. You're going to also need the medium combat achievements. This gives you double points at pest control, which means the smart move is knocking out the mediums first, then grinding pest control after. Elite Void range specifically is used at TOB the most, and some other endgame content. If you're skipping Void entirely, you can if you want, but for irons especially, this is basically mandatory. Now there's items themselves that are untradeable and that you're going to have to grind for. But a big grind is also GP. You're going to have to grind for GP to afford a lot of things in the game. The cheapest of them all is probably going to be the Dragon Scimitar. After completing Monkey Madness 1, get this as it's very good for an early to mid game player. You should really have this before you touch any real content. It's the default one-handed slash weapon. It lasts you all the way up until the Abyssal Whip or Fang, and there's no reason to use anything else. Upgrading your helmet of Natus Knot to the face guard is also another big GP grind. It's the best in slot melee helm for a long time. You combine your helm of Natus Knot with a Basilisk Jaw, a rare drop from the Basilisk Knights. If you're an iron, that's where the real grind comes in. If you're a main, you could just buy one. For most players, they get the base helm during the mid game, and then worry about the face guard when you're pushing into endgame content. The blowpipe is one of the strongest ranged weapons you'll own through the mid game. Even after the rebalance, it's still incredibly powerful for anything with low defense. You need 75 range to wield it. You'll use it all over the game: Slayer, Fight Caves, Inferno Waves, Chambers of Xeric, Theatre of Blood, Tombs of a Massacre, and plenty of bosses. It's no longer the answer to absolutely everything, but it's still one of the most useful weapons you can buy. The grind isn't just buying the blowpipe, it's having enough GP to keep up with the Zulrah scales it uses, and the darts depending on which ones you use, pretty much signing up for a permanent upkeep cost. If you want to enter the giveaway for a chance at a bond, drop a sub, like this video, and comment down below what you think is the most important mid-game grind. Every account needs a spec weapon. What you're using at each stage of the mid-game changes. 2 quick hits from the spec, decent damage on a low budget. This is your entry level spec weapon and it's super cheap. For the mid tier you can use the Bando's Godsword or the Ardougne Godsword. The spec lowers the target's defense, so you use it to make future hits land more, and the Ardougne Godsword is for healing and prayer restoration. If you had to pick one, I'd say the BGS is more universally used, but the Ardougne Godsword is the one you want to use for solo grinds where you want to make it a lot longer of a run. Dragon Claws and the Voidwaker are great. The claws are a classic, and the Voidwaker is incredibly powerful due to it being a magic spec weapon. None of these are strictly required in the mid game, but what matters is that you have something. Even a DDS at basically no cost will cover you at half the PvM content. The upgrade path exists for when your bank grows. A big one that's going to drain your GP is construction. 83 construction is the magic number, because with a crystal saw and a spicy brew you can build almost everything important in your POH. This includes an ornate jewelry box, a rejuvenation pool, portal nexus, a cult altar for spellbook swapping. It will cost a lot of GP, I'm talking tens of millions, depending on how you train it and obviously current plank prices, but it is one of the biggest GP investments most counts will ever make. For mains, this is the goal you save your bossing money for. Maybe Vorkarth for a bit until you can afford it, then bite the bullet and do construction so that it makes everything easier. Once you've done it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Banking is faster, teleports are faster, spellbook swapping, rejuvenation, it makes everything so seamless. After getting your Slayer helmet with 400 Slayer points, I would highly recommend to imbue it. You could also imbue it through the Nightmare Zone or Soul Wars, depending on whether you prefer AFK points or active games. Either way, it's well worth doing as early as possible. Once imbued, the Slayer helmet's damage and accuracy bonuses apply to magic and ranged as well as melee. It's one of the biggest upgrades you can do for Slayer. To get the quest cape, the stat requirements are actually pretty reasonable, especially for modern OSRS standards. It's nothing outrageously high, but getting every quest requirement still means training a wide spread of skills that you might not be into. But for some people the grind might not be the stats themselves, it might just be getting through every single quest. The quest helper is one of the best things you can use if you don't like questing. The quest cape is great because it can also be used as a teleport to the Legends Guild, which is right next to a fairy ring, making it one of the most convenient teleports in the game. The grind is definitely very long, but it's definitely worth it. Just do a few quests a day or a week, rather than trying to do it all at once. You definitely feel like you're creeping into the end game once you have this. Most hard diaries ask for skills somewhere between the mid 50s and the mid 70s, with a few requirements asking for a little bit more. Things like the Ardougne cape are so useful. It's got a very good teleport. The Morytania diary gives extra rewards at barrows, and eventually the Fremennik elite diary, which gives you noted Dagannoth bones. So many nice quality of life upgrades once you do some of the diaries. For combat achievement, it now uses a point system, so you no longer have to fully complete every tier before unlocking the rewards. You simply just earn enough points. One of the biggest medium rewards is increasing your cannon capacity from 30 to 45. You also get an extra point at pest control like I mentioned before, and it removes a lot of the prayer drain at barrows, which is definitely one of my favourite quality of life upgrades. By the time you reach the hard rewards, you're getting things like longer lasting thralls, better quality of life in the God Wars dungeon, useful bossing perks, and things that you're just going to use for the rest of your account. You will be picking these up passively as you PvM anyway, but if you're specifically going for a tier reward, then look at the checklist and pick the ones you're closest to. I would say it's important to grind out a few of the outfits. Things like the Rogue's outfit you can get from the Rogue's Den in like an hour or two. This doubles your loot when thieving. The Angler outfit is great for extra XP. The Prospector kit from Motherlode Mine is also great for more XP. The Graceful isn't as OP as it used to be, but it's still useful for weight reduction and run energy regen. The Lumberjack for a woodcutting XP boost. The Remnants of the Eye, the Farmer's outfit. There's so many outfits in the game, and some of them I would say to just grind for. Some of them you're going to pick up passively while training other skills anyway, but things like the Rogue and Graceful outfit I would get straight away. A lot of mid-game grinds might feel like a chore, It might feel like a stack of tedious grinds that individually take a few hours or collectively can take a long time, but every single one of them makes your account significantly better. So many things that you're going to appreciate that you grinded for. But then again, that's some people. A lot of people like me also do love the grind. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to enter the bond giveaway. There's a link in the description if you want to join the Discord community. If you enjoy OSRS in general, then one of these videos on screen might interest you. I hope you're having a good day, and until the next one, peace.